So you said one of your favorite times is when Iron Man built a THOR-BUSTER? Luckily for you, that was one of my favorite fights also. See, guys, peep game. Little backstory on Thor. At this point in time in comics, dude is the actual king of Asgard, but due to the death of Odin, he's not really in his right mind, and he really getting tired of humans doing what we do, war and all that other stuff. And so it's getting to a point where he really starting to exercise his godhood on the world. And well, when that man Tony pulled up, people like, Thor, bruh, we can't even do this like this. And Thor was just like, Tony, is this really the hill you want to die on? Is this really the line you trying to cross? And that's when that man smashes that hammer down on the ground, sending everybody around them flying off. And he was like, well, this is my line, Tony. Cross it if you want to. And I'm gonna tell y'all, he absolutely did not want to, and he didn't. But what he did do is go grab his newest armor, aka the THOR-BUSTER. And not a minute too soon, actually, because, well, Thor's up here about to turn up on a whole bunch of soldiers. That is until that brother Tony roll up and he just like, brother, can't let you do it, Thor. It ain't going down like that. And when Thor was just like, yeah, all right, you best back your ass up, Tony. Tony hit that man with that uppercut. We're just like, sucker, you better step away. I ain't about to tell your ass again. And that man sliding in the dirt. And that man looked at Tony and was just like, ah, indeed. If the fade is what you want, then the fade is what you shall have. But this man, Iron Man, just holds out his hand and starts draining the energy out of Mjolnir. And he tells Thor, hey man, this suit's powered by the same stuff that gives your hammer its power, bruh. Yeah, like that. And guess what? Built this shit in a cave with a box of scrap. And then my man just weaves this hammer off to the side. And Thor's just like, bruh, you really took a gift and you gonna turn it into a weapon to fight me? And Iron Man's like, brother man, I gotta do whatever I got to do, dog. And Thor's just like, well, you know what? You need to sit that ass down. Hit that man with the yaggity boot. Had this man slid all across the terrain. But Tony was pretty quick on his feet and ends up blasting this dude right in his lips. And Thor's just like, yeah, let me grab this hammer again. And they both just start shooting energy at each other. And well, Iron Man's holding up to it pretty well, especially considering that while Thor is blasting him, he is still absorbing all of this energy. And well, that power boost must have been substantial, because it was enough for this dude to punch straight through Thor's armor. And man, they just start throwing him, y'all. And Iron Man is trying his best to keep up, but Thor is really starting to overwhelm this dude. And well, that's when Thor tells him, I'm done with you, mortal. Plus, you ain't shit without your little metal suit. Iron Man was just like, yeah, okay. That boy starts charging up all of that energy, fusing it with that arc reactor. And when these two start clashing again, y'all, the government was just like, oh my God, we gotta do something about this. Cause like, whoo, shit. And they do, they start to move in soldiers and everything, but they are very quickly stopped by the Star Spangled Man. And he was just like, nah, ain't nobody jumping nothing. Plus, it ain't like we could stop them if we wanted to. And yeah, cause these two run at each other, and when they clash, Blamsky! When I say that it had Cap and everybody around press, they leaving craters and everything. But Thor is very quickly getting tired of this shit. Dude just starts punching straight into Tony's armor. But Tony is giving as good as he's getting. And it's getting to the point where everybody around is having to get the hell out of there. But these two don't give a damn. They are just running it. And that's when Thor comes across with that hammer to Tony's chin, grabs that arm and rips it right out of its socket. Well, at least the machinery. And uppercuts that man with enough force that Captain America has to block the shockwaves, and it's still pushing him back. I mean, when I say this man's struggling, but he finally makes it to Thor, and he's just like, bruh, it's Tony, don't kill him, dog. But it's also at that point that this man notices the army rolling up, and he just like, bro, I don't give a freak about none of them. And that's when he tossed this man to the side like an old crushed up soda can. And in the very next second, the entire suit explodes. That's only because this man is back and ready for round 2. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is a story for another time. As for now, Excelsior War Corps. I'm Amash OT. I'll catch y'all later.